A member of our own ABC7 family is out with a new book about investigative reporting. Capital Murder, written by reporter Chris Papst, is about the 2011 financial collapse of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the first capital city in American history to file for bankruptcy. And Chris joins us now here in studio, News Channel 8 on Good Morning Washington. Chris, good to see you. This is just such a fascinating story that it's almost inconceivable that a city, a major U.S. city, could file for bankruptcy. And this really was not because of the financial collapse of the country. This was their own doing.
This was very separate. Yeah, capital cities are supposed to be recession-proof. This is where all the money from the state comes from. It's not supposed to happen in this type of environment. But in Harrisburg, they had a mayor for 28 years. This was a guy that was seen as the mayor for life. He was named the best mayor in America. In 2006, he was named by the World Mayor Association the third best mayor in the world. A year after he left office, the city files for bankruptcy. So how can that happen? People weren't watching what was really going on. They weren't looking inside the finances of the city to see what this mayor for life was actually doing. They were looking at everything he was bringing to the city. The Washington Nationals AA baseball team, the Harrisburg Senators, he brought to Harrisburg. New high-rises, businesses, a National Civil War Museum. People were coming back into the city after leaving for decades, and people were looking at the city aesthetically going, look at our wonderful mayor. But what they weren't looking at was how much debt he was accruing and how he was accruing the debt and the way that he was using the municipal bond markets to basically pay off credit cards with other credit cards.
And something else, too, one of the crazy stories I know we've talked about is the things he was doing. For instance, what was this about the Wild Wild West artifacts? He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they just sat and ended up being like auctioned off later for nothing, right?
Fascinating story. So this mayor, his idea was he wanted to create institutions within the city. And the idea was, if I can create more institutions, the Harrisburg Senators, AA baseball team, the new Harrisburg Hilton, National Civil War Museum, more people will come to the city. It'll be a destination city. One of his ideas was a Wild West museum in Pennsylvania, in central Pennsylvania. So,
which is where you go to get
if you think Wild West,
yeah,
you think central Pennsylvania. So he was siphoning money out of city coffers, traveling around the country to buy this merchandise for the Wild West stuff. And the people of Harrisburg and the media just allowed him to do it. Yeah. Oh, that's Stephen Reed. He has a plan. His plan's good for Harrisburg. Let him do it. Harrisburg ended up filing for bankruptcy, partially because everybody just looked at him as this iconic figure. They gave him far too much power as a local leader, and no one held him accountable.
I got to ask you before I let you go, because we've got to run. This is such a fantastic book. Very quickly, in 30 seconds, what's the lesson that we all can learn as taxpayers, as good citizens, about what happened in Harrisburg?
It's a cautionary tale of how citizens suffer when their government fails them. We need to watch our elected leaders. We need to make sure they're doing what they're doing. Quite frankly, Larry, sometimes we need to get away from what Kim Kardashian's shoes look like.
There you go.
And we need to look into the budgets of our cities, because what happened to Harrisburg was preventable. It didn't have to happen. And in this book, we talk about how people suffer when their government fails them. And there's tons of stories in here of people suffering because they just weren't paying attention.
Chris, great work. I know you worked in Harrisburg at the time, so you were really up close and personal with all of this. Capital Murder is the book out right now, named #1 on Amazon on Books on Local Government. Is that correct?
Books on Local Government, Accounting for new releases. It came out just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Nice job. Chris Papst joining us right here. And again, Capital Murder, nice job. Thanks again.